I'm sure you all have opinion on the argument of public versus private schooling. We each come from one of them, and so we each think that where we came from was the best place to be. We each have different experiences and preferences when it comes to bigger classes, smaller classes, the athletics, and the extracurricular activities. And they all differ greatly from each school. But I personally came from a private Christian school, and although I admit there are many, many cons to going to a private school, I believe that the pros are far worth it. Sending children to a private school versus a public school proves to be more beneficial overall because the academic, social, and spiritual growth the child will receive. This brings me to my first point in showing you that the academic system is more effective in a private school setting. Many students who graduate from private schools have the privilege of gaining a higher cost of education. In the Journal of Sociology of Education, published in 1983, Carl Alexander and Aaron Pallas claimed that private schools produce better cognitive outcomes than public schools. And according to an article entitled Learning and Student Life Quality of Public and Private School Youth, William R. Morgan gives a table showing the test scores of public juniors and seniors and Catholic juniors and seniors. So the question stands, why? What gives private schoolers such an advantage in test taking compared to public schoolers? Well, this achievement isn't only gained because the curriculum is higher level, but because the teachers take time to care about the individual student's specific needs in their learning. Although costs are much higher than the average public school, the benefits to having smaller class sizes and caring teachers pay off in the end. When a student graduates, they will be invested into, not just overlooked in a sea of students. Coming from a private Christian school, I personally experienced this one-on-one attention and care from my teachers, and it's made all the difference in the world. So now that I've discussed the benefits of a private school education, I will move on to my next point, which is the social benefits in the private school setting. Many students who attend public schools become exposed at very early ages to things like drugs, alcohol, and sex. According to the Journal of School Health, published in 2005, Lloyd D. Johnston states that although adolescent drug use rates have declined some in recent years, American youth continue to experiment and use illicit and illicit substances at unacceptably high levels, possibly leading to problematic use or actual substance use disorders. Putting a child in private school is not going to eliminate all of the drug and alcohol exposure, but it will dramatically decrease the possibilities and pressure to become involved in it. Also, according to SADD.org, each year approximately 19 million new STD infections occur, and almost half of them are among youth ages 15 to 29. This risk is already huge in adolescence, so why allow children to become even more at risk in public schools where sex has become the norm among students? In private schools, although the pressure will always be there, it is mostly discouraged among the youth instead of encouraged. This brings me to my final point, which is the spiritual benefits of attending a private school. More and more throughout the years, Christianity and biblical standards are being pushed further and further away from the public school system. Many Christians believe that a public school is best because it gives young Christians a chance to witness and minister to a group of lost peers. Now, I agree with this, and as long as the adolescent is spiritually mature and ready to handle such pressure and persecution. Most of the time, youth are still learning about their faith and trying to become grounded in the truth. Proverbs 13:20 states, "He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed." Bad company corrupts good habits, and it's easier to be pulled into the popularity of the culture than to stand against it. Private Christian schools prepare students to battle spiritual attacks for when they graduate and face the world on their own. So now that you have heard all my points about the benefits to a private school education, I would like to conclude by saying that public schools still have awesome opportunities for America's youth. Although the youth faces more difficult challenges, the public school system can still produce strong, intelligent, and well-rounded Christians. The decision is ultimately up to the student and how much they think they can handle in each setting. But based on research and personal experience, I believe that the academics, social life, and spiritual life of a student can be better enhanced in a private